All right, so I think we have what we need here to call the meeting to order. So it's about 4 minutes after the hour, 7 o'clock on March the 17th, 2026. We're going to call the Flood Prevention, Climate Resilience, and Erosion Control Board meeting to order. Why don't we go around the room and just identify who's here? My name is John Dilley. I am Vice Chair of the board, acting as the chair tonight due to Becky Bunnell's absence.
I'm Carolyn Camlett, alternate.
Charles Abercrombie, board member.
Manish Jain, alternate.
Dick Mahusky, secretary.
Bill Hurley, Engineering Department.
Keith Bradley as the member.
Member.
Russ Jennings, past flood and erosion chairman.
Excellent. Member of the public.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. All right, so thank you. So first order of business is to make sure that we have, and we have four, myself, Chuck, Dick, and Keith here, plus we have two alternates, so we don't have to promote anybody to a full member for the purposes of the meeting. Thank you, Bill, for being here in all your Irish glory.
But why not? Why don't we elevate them to full member? So if there's a vote, they can participate.
I'm fine with that.
only-
We don't have to, but all in favor of elevating Manish and Carolyn to full member for the purposes of this meeting today?
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion?
Only that you don't need to, because the chair appoints alternate members to full members.
Perfect.
There's no vote
You
required for
guys are
that.
now your full members for today.
Oh, thank you.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Congratulations.
Manish, I know you're celebrating, so yeah, enjoy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
After this, I'm going there.
Going right to the club with us, yeah, we'll go have a pint. All right, so we have a full board here, so thank you. We're gonna move on to the first matter of business on the agenda, which was circulated after last month's meeting. The minutes from the February 17th, 2026 meeting. So those were circulated. Are there any updates, questions, comments, concerns about those minutes?
I have none.
I have one comment, that in the members absent, I believe Manish needs to be listed there along with Chuck and James Posey.
Okay,
Oh, that's right.
very good.
Other than that, everything looked good to me.
Yeah, okay. Anybody else? Chuck?
Anybody need a copy?
No, it's at home on my desk. Unmarked up. So noted, so we'll obviously make that change. Can we then adopt those with that change from the last minute, with that minor change?
I make a motion that we adopt the minutes as submitted with the one change, adding Manish to the,
To the attendee list.
I second the motion.
Carolyn, okay. So I guess right now we've got to say vote, yeah, all in favor of adopting it as modified,
Aye.
okay?
I would also like to, at this point, add an item, which is the draft minutes from our public meeting that we had on February 11th.
Yes.
Those draft minutes were submitted to the town clerk. They are very simplistic. I have copies here if anybody wants to look at them, if you haven't seen them already.
They were previously circulated, I saw those.
Yes, they did. They were circulated when I sent them to
I saw
town
this,
clerk.
yeah. I saw this, yeah.
So I would,
I'd like a copy though, because I left mine.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we can add that at the minutes from our special meeting, public meeting that was called. So Dick, is that a motion for you to add that to our,
yeah, it's a motion to add it to the items on our agenda, and also to approve it as listed unless anybody has any commentary.
I was unable to make any commentary. I was not in attendance and I did not see.
It's very straightforward, isn't it?
Does anybody want to second that motion?
I second the motion.
Thank you, Carolyn. Okay, are there any questions or any other comments about that? If not, we can vote.
Pretty straightforward.
Okay, all in favor of adopting it?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
All right, excellent. So thank you, Dick, for that. We can move on to the second item on our agenda today. It's the discussion and status on active projects. Bill Hurley is here, so thank you, Bill. One project that was specifically called out was the Riverside Creek and McLeavy tide gates, but if there's other stuff that you want to update us on, we're all ears.
Okay, now the Riverside Tie Gate, just want to make sure, because that could get confusing. We call the Turney Creek one, which is just about basically done now.
Yeah.
The one that they just reopened, they had the road closed. We call that the Turney Creek one. The Riverside, what I think is a good way to do it is called Riverside Open Space, because then that way, you know, it's not the other one, and it's a single tide gate. Where we did go to the Board of Finance and the RTM and got the approvals to go with the two-pipe version, or at least certainly to have the design for that.
Right.
And that's in the permitting phase. That one, we hope to start that right now. It's still a little preliminary, but to start that in spring of 2027. I can say that the comments by FERB are being investigated. I know they have Tim Bishop and Mega Jane have talked to the consultant about at least providing the concrete portion up to elevation 12. That we were using that as a guide for the rest of the town. So they're looking into that. I could probably get you a little bit more detailed information.
Well, I put a call in to Tim Bishop last Thursday,
Yep.
and I have not heard back from him yet. My intention was to get an update from him, because that being an SRT, it's basically it's conservation's purview more than a pure engineering job, although Mega is the project engineer on that.
Yeah.
Working for the
All I can say in fairness, I have not seen, his office is next to mine basically, and I haven't seen him in 2 weeks, just either not passing by or maybe he had a couple days off or he was sick. I honestly don't know. But
Yeah,
that,
I mean,
otherwise I would have had that update
I don't
for
think,
you on that
I don't
as
think
well.
there's any great rush on this.
No, but just to keep, I know that was one of the concerns of FERB, of trying to at least have a little bit more involvement or provide more up-to-date information as the project goes along, and we're trying to do that.
Oh, sorry. Sure. You said you preliminarily have it scheduled for when?
Spring of 2027. Again, that will all depend.
Yeah. On the bid process.
And not, but the permitting phase, you know.
But you've also already started the
Deep
bid.
can return it in 5 or 6 months. Other times they take a year.
Bill, is it only deep or is it Army Corps?
It's probably Army Corps as well.
Okay.
I'm just going by the deep was the first one that you usually go for. But they can be done simultaneously. I can follow up on that. I'll give a better detailed description to Becky, and then she could distribute.
And Mega is the project,
Unless, as I said, if Tim responds with an email, then, go by that.
Mega is the project lead on it?
Yeah. The McLeavy tie gate, we're in a little bit of a quagmire there in that that's going to be a serious easement issue. It could be up to 5 easements involved in that. And so what really stinks is some Connecticut Deep, they've kind of, I'm not going to say, I guess I'm going to call it a policy, where they want the easements in place before you submit the proposal. And obviously that's going to hold it up. So I directed the capital projects team to push that out at least another year, because there's no way we'll be able to do that on the same timeline as the Riverside. So that tentatively is sometime in 2028.
So Deep has that requirement, easements
Yeah.
before.
Right, before permit is submittal. Yep. And then just to, I don't know if anyone is aware or not, we're still trying to figure it out a little bit. I can give you a little update on the South Pine Creek. That's the one by Kiwanis Field. That one is substantially complete. They have some punch list items that include providing kind of like a dirt path or a ramp with some gravel so that conservation vehicle can get down to the tie gate. Right now, there's the top of the berm is much higher than the tie gates themselves. So that has to be done, and final restoration. At the last meeting, they said that the contractor is going to be returning to the site at the end of this week or very early next week. They hope to be completed with the project in April, or again, most of the project in April. I know there's discussions about looking at painting the bridge, the truss bridge. They did get one quote from a contractor that was $250,000 to do the work. So,
To do the painting?
yeah.
We're available for round two.
Yeah.
I was gonna
You
say.
and I are going out there about
I've done
210.
a lot of painting.
you're gonna have to-
We were happy to be the low bidder on that one.
You're gonna have to bring your sandblast gear with you.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I'm sure it's got lead paint and
Kids,
other.
they don't mind sandblasting stuff.
So I think they're either gonna reinvestigate or talk to some others and at least find out, some more information about that. And let's see. Oh, and then the other thing that was a little bit of a surprise was that at South Pine Creek Tie Gate, we're trying to figure out one of the floats dispatched, and we noticed 3 or 4 nuts and bolts that were either missing or loose. And we're trying to find out if that was vandalism or some other issue. Terry is going to repair that because it's kind of on their watch until they, quote, officially turn it over.
Yeah.
But that's something to keep in mind. So they're going to go now with a sturdier, and they're going to have to actually lock the tie gate to prevent that. So you would figure, going
What do you
down.
mean, what do you mean by lock?
They'll put like a padlock on it, or they'll have something where they have to basically snap it off every time.
In this day and age, does the town have video monitoring of
I was going to ask the same.
sensitive sites?
Yeah.
Right now,
And
we could hire somebody to do that. I don't know. There's a couple of locations that have been approved by the state for safety or police situation, but this is not one of them. Now, whether we can hire somebody or whether the town has a camera to look at, that's something I could look into. I'm sure the police have been made aware. Again, we haven't been able to substantiate whether it was or not, but it just seems very odd. The one thing that's really odd is if you were going to vandalize something, most of the time you just toss it up. Why would you re-screw something back and stuff like that? So we're trying to figure that out.
Crazy things. But one question, if you put the padlock and things like that, if in case of an emergency, would somebody need
Well,
to get a
the
key or
conservation,
something,
the
or
conservation crew would have that. Yep, they would have that.
Is there a risk that one can't find?
And then if it was that bad, the old like wire cutters or something like that, if they, but right now the conservation staff, I think it's 3 full-time for what they call conservation workshop. For seasonals, I think sometimes they have up to 6 or 12. And then the conservation staff in here, I would like to think the director and at least one other person has keys and whatever for that, so.
is that like the universal town padlock? Because isn't there like a universal town padlock?
I'll
All the
have to-
DPW guys have it on their keychain?
It might be, but I'm not sure. I don't want to give you the answer to that yet because, as I said, I don't know
That's
if
a
it's
good idea.
put on or if it will be put on by.
The other thing about this video monitoring or automated monitoring of stuff, I was looking through the details on the Fairchild Wheeler detention ponds, and one of the requirements for under maintenance is that when we get a rainstorm, and I'm making up numbers, when we get a rainstorm that's more than 2 inches an hour, personnel have to go to that location and take depth readings of the water every hour at a minimum for 6 hours or something.
Yep.
It seems to me that getting one of these automated depth gauges and mounting it on the weir to automatically send signals back is kind of the way to do that. I mean, what are you going to do on a Saturday night when it's raining like hell? Do you call your little engineer and say, "Hey, Anthony, get on your, put your pants on and go down and."
You want to have time?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we're gonna have to, we're figuring out statistically, it should be once or twice a year that we have to go out, so it's not very often, but it still
But
is.
it's
once or
the
twice.
timing of
Yep.
it, you know.
The only thing I could say about those gauges is, we had gauges, for the Rooster River, the USGS gauge, and it was, I think they had one in maybe Black Rock Harbor or somewhere out on the Sound. And they were, to maintain them, were $30,000 a year. Now, again, this, might be a little bit different and it might be a little bit more deluxe model or whatever, but it wasn't something dirt cheap. I know that. And that was 5 years ago, that price, by the way, 30,000.
The technology gets cheaper, so
Sometimes,
it's
yeah, that's
probably only
right.
$29.95 now.
Sometimes that's right. And other times, well, it gets more expensive because it's got more bells and whistles, So I think that's pretty much a good update on the tie gates there. We could go to number 3 if you want, Dick. I'll leave that up to you unless there's more discussion. Or I'm
Are
sorry.
there any other projects that we have interest in? Like you mentioned the detention pond. I don't know if that's making progress. But Riverside, McLeavy, South Pine Creek, great updates. Thank you. Is there anything else that we want an update on? I don't have an updated project list in front of us, and I think we talked about that.
I could give you, we're finalizing, I mean, it's been unfortunately in discussions for at least 3 or 4 weeks now with the contractor. There's just some legal stuff that we have to finalize with them for the final contract.
Fairchild.
For Fairchild Wheeler. But the other one, we're waiting, we're giving it like another week or so. And then the purchasing pretty much has everything. It's just a matter of if for some reason, and I don't think this is going to happen, but if we had a rebid Fairchild Wheeler, then maybe we would do both the same time, that and Tunxus. If we had to. I don't think that's going to go to that. I mean, we've had I'll just say 8 or 10 items and we're down to 2, but we're not at 0 yet in the negotiation game. So just to give you an honest assessment of that. And so the other one we hope to put out to bid, I'm going to say by the end of the month would be or very first week of April. The Tunxus Hill one.
Yeah, Keith has got a question about,
So, Bill, do you have a potential estimate for shovel in the ground? Because there was an issue that it was coming to the time when the golfers were going to want to be on the course.
That's one of the things that we're still finalizing. Obviously, there's no way they could have started this winter anyway, and even now, thanks to the rain that we just had, as things are starting to dry up, when you get again close to 2 inches, or I've heard different reports of how much rain we got, but that holds it up. Another thing that we were looking at phasing it, where they could do their submittals, all their permit work, site preparation first, and then have them go into construction, which would be probably mid to late April. That schedule hasn't changed really. It's just a matter of if we don't have a decision by, say, April 1st, we may just, I'm hoping, I'm going to say by the end of the next week, the latest there. If we have to rebid, that might screw everything up. If they go ahead and whatever, we may just do it all in one contract. We were hoping to split it up because that way we could have them do some preliminary work if we didn't get that second snowstorm that really held us up. So,
Well, you weren't, in hindsight, you weren't ready to start anyway because the contract's not.
again, that was part of the
You
thing.
didn't know that then.
Right. And again, that was one of the contract hangups was 2 parts versus 1. We did resolve that. But like you said, it's the point of just getting started.
I'm sorry.
Just so
So
this could go.
shovel in the ground, if I had to say, unless it gets somehow rebid, which as I said is doubtful, but I just want to put it out there that there's a slight possibility of that. We're still probably looking at mid and probably late April.
And the duration of that project is how long?
Duration is probably up to 4 months.
So it's going to
Now
go
they
through the
are-
golf season.
Yeah, and they
Free
are.
lift. That's a good hole.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to get a good score on that hole.
Bridgeport, I think, is working on, realigning maybe the tee for that. And then, what was going to say, the contractor is committed, though, that they'll have 2 crews working on one crew for each detention pond. So that will expedite it, which was nice to hear. And Bridgeport, I'm sure, will be happy to hear that. We're still going to try to have them go. But again, for their protection, and this is what we're finding out, when we give really tight deadlines, and then if we hit liquidated damages on top of that, the contractors are backing off because obviously they don't want that. And so they want to build in cushions and they want to build that. And so that's what we're finding out is as we're making the contracts tighter, it's now taking longer. While before, I'm not going to say there were any loose ends, but it was a little bit, I guess, subject to interpretation, while now we're really tightening them up. And so we're finding that having the contractor sign off on that is taking a little bit longer. So to combat that, what we're trying to do is establish a typical EJ CDC contract, which Mega has been working with the purchasing department on and the town attorney. And if we can get a standard one, we will include that with the bid document. So that way there's no quote surprise or whatever. And so that's, one of our goals for the next season, so to speak. So,
Makes sense.
yep.
Okay.
All right.
I think that's all on the kind of various projects, unless there's anything else we can move to item 3 around the resiliency project and plan. Is that okay with everybody? Okay. So we'll move on to item number 3 on the agenda around the master flood mitigation and resilience plan. So how are we faring on that?
We're faring pretty good on that. There is still some remaining work to be done. And one of the things that we, as you know, we had the public meeting.
Yeah.
We've come back and now the consultant has asked us to prioritize 8 locations or 8 study areas. And so
You're talking about inland?
inland,
We're talking
correct, thank
inland
you.
now.
Yeah, thank you. The coastal one will probably be done in the next couple of weeks. But right now, the inland one, the locations that they haven't been finalized, but they've kind of been, quote, agreed upon. We're just getting final confirmation on that, but I'll let you know. And these are for strategies.
And
They're
that's
not even-
that's the 10 locations.
There was 8. Some people have said 10. We have, if I gave you I sent you the email, I have it as 8 with a couple of possible on the cusp. And that's what I mean by we're trying to finalize those. One is downtown area, the train station. We have Upper Grassmere Brook.
I don't know. I don't know that this is helpful because
okay.
what I asked you late last week was for that list because you and Becky and Eileen and everybody you had some kind of meeting and you came up with this inland list.
Right.
And I wanted to get a copy of that list that you all came up with so I could share it with the rest of the board and we would have an opportunity to think about those items rather than just sit here real time, listen to an item and have to give an intelligent comment.
I could
remark on it.
understand that, but and again, in the process of keeping moving, all these locations have already been discussed with this board, and they were on our list.
Okay.
So they're all on the
So
list.
we went through a prioritization. Is that the result of that prioritization?
Is that excuse me?
We did a prioritization a few weeks back, right? A
Right.
few months back,
Yes,
right?
and that's what this
Is this what
this
came
is-
out of that?
This is what's based on. As I said, I was just reading them up. Downtown, the train station, Grassmere Brook, the Upper Grassmere Brook, Owen Fish, Horse Tavern Brook, Black Rock Turnpike, Cricker Brook area. This one was one of my prioritizations, just for this neighborhood. It's been pretty patient. Little Brook and Marion.
Yeah.
We were looking at the underpasses, and much to our surprise, the consultant is saying, well, that's going to take, we could just give you green-gray infrastructure, or we could study the watershed and see if there's a way of intercepting some of the water that flows, or the runoff that flows to the underpasses. In which I said, like we've done for Linwood and South Pine Creek, which we've done already. So they were going to originally charge us for 4 of the sites for each underpass, and that's why I said it hasn't been finalized. Becky and I had mentioned that, there's a lot of studies already, ACOM.
I mean, that's like one concept, the underpasses.
That was our argument, so.
All right, so this road has a contour of 4 feet, and this road has a contour of 3 feet. Gee, what can we do? Well, we have to intercept it somewhere.
So, yeah, so there's no way, I'm going to say we're aiming for one concept at most. If they gave us more detailed information, I might let them do 2, but I'm not letting them do any more than that, and that's only with the detailed information.
So,
And
Bill,
and
just
then we
a
had
quick question
Riverfield School.
on this. So we had talked about blue spots impacting some of the access to shelters and things like that. Does this plan cover that too, these prioritizations?
The blue spots are somewhat related to that viewer, and in some cases, the blue spots will. Like, for instance, I know for a fact, and that was one of the reasons why we went with that Black Rock Turnpike, Cricker Brook, is that there were about 8 blue spots on the watershed.
Right.
And so that was one that originally I'm like saying, and I'm just showing you my thought process. I'm like, Black Rock Turnpike. I remember one time it got flooded, but because it's near the intersection of the parkway, not many homes live right in that immediate area. We haven't been getting many complaints from our area. But when I saw the blue spot map and then the potential for that, well, then anybody that lives downstream from that Mill River, that location where Cricker Brook eventually goes into the Mill River, will benefit. Because again, detention you want to put in the upper reaches of the watershed.
Okay, so
that was one that was selected based on the blue spot.
Cricker Brook comes down from the parkway.
Well, it actually comes from the
Behind the high
driving range and the golf
behind
golf
the high
course.
ho.
Yeah,
Behind the high ho, comes
Right.
down the hill from behind the high ho. And then it comes from the parkway, it goes through Winnipogi area.
Correct.
Before it dumps into Sant Mortar.
Right.
Right?
Correct.
So I ask you as a resident, Russell, what's the history of flooding down in the low areas where Cricker Brook comes through your neighborhood? Does it flood, or is it
Not
easy
aware of
to go
any-
into Sant Mortar?
Not aware of any flooding from the Parkway down to where the cast iron Aquarian water pipes cross Cricker Brook.
Just south of the,
It's
just north or south of the
on
park?
Winnipogue, where Winnipogue
Oh, okay.
starts its U-turn.
Oh, okay.
Where Winnipogue starts its U-turn.
All right.
It's backed up there, but because of the lake, not because of what's coming downstream. And Aquarian does not let any water out of Cricker Brook. Tom Stanky had to beat him over the head to get spring flows for the fish to spawn. They prefer not to let any out. Now,
How do they control that? Do they have a dam mechanism?
oh yeah, they have
Sluice gate, I imagine, valves.
valves
Yeah.
in the dam.
Up at the reservoir?
At Hemlock.
Okay.
And
So Cricker
I
Brook comes
don't
from
know. I don't remember any time. I've lived there for 49 years. I don't remember any time when there was a lot of water going over the dam, over Hemlock Dam, that came down. But it does flood.
I'm thinking about why do we need to detain water upstream in Cricker Brook? What's it hurting downstream?
Yeah. I do know that that spot where Hoytons Hill, Congress Street come together right at the exit, that's the low spot. And
Yeah.
that's, there's a problem there.
So from a
Which-
roadway
which-
safety
So that
standpoint.
that does flood, okay.
And that might be because of a small.
Culvert?
Culvert or small passageway.
Right, yeah.
Under the parkway.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
So in terms of the 8 that you worked on with Becky, we got the downtown train station, Old Fish, Black Rock Turnpike, Cricker Brook area, Grasmere, Horse Tavern, Little Brook, Marion, Riverfield, and then the underpasses that are either 1 to 2, depending on how hard we want to squeeze these guys.
Right.
All right. All right. Those are the inland ones, and that's with the inland consultant, right?
Right, that's correct. That's correct.
Not Race, the other one.
No, that's correct.
Okay.
And at the coastal, we have gotten that list from Race for all the coastal stuff. I mean, there's like 50 items
They
on it.
included-
Every
Tide
flap gate, every flap gate is its own item number. So that's next up to
Right.
whittle down.
We'll whittle that down, yep.
So we still have to do that, okay. Any
So
other,
if they start asking for that, I would assume then Becky may ask, much like she did for the comments, if for any input when it comes to those.
it's good that we got to that 8, or almost 10, right, for the inland.
Yeah, yeah.
For the inland, we're at least now focused, right, and we're using the blue dot maps. Was there any other feedback out of the public hearing?
I haven't heard anything.
I didn't see it.
after that.
Did the consultant feel like they got any utility out of that?
We did get a couple of comments on the viewer and on the presentation. But
So that people could see where their stuff was?
one of them actually was a mention that you mentioned before, the former conservation director, Tom Stanky,
Yeah.
was very impressed.
I thought the whole idea was to show the viewer. I
Yeah,
thought that was the whole idea of that meeting, remember? Like,
Well, that's about all we had kind of prepared.
yeah,
Exactly.
we were hoping to get more public input and maybe,
On
one of
these
these
things.
spots might have changed by public comment. But because the viewer, they felt, and flood
I don't
erosion
think
board
that was
felt was
discussed though.
important.
Those spots were discussed.
No, not really, no, that's what I mean, we didn't really get into the.
You're right,
public
it was just the viewer.
Just a viewer.
And then the other thing is, Eileen sent the questions and she sent the results from the Slido thing. And we had said after the meeting or at our last meeting that do we want to go out to our larger audience, larger than 12, I mean, our whole audience is 14 or something. Do we want to go out to our larger audience / the town with some sort of survey questions to get a sense of what the townsfolk feel about their neighborhood flooding? You're wasting my money. I pay too much taxes as it is. Let those rich people down on the coast drown. Who cares?
That's what they might say, but again,
Yeah, well,
this is.
but that's
this is
good
the
to
whole
know. But
Master
that's good to
plan,
know.
and this is,
Except,
But that's, I take it.
the whole master plan, a matter of fact, Emmeline and I and Weston and Sampson were invited to the Public Works Association meeting at the end of the month to explain the master plan and the viewer, because it's a relatively new concept.
the viewers
Viewer,
are a neat thing.
they did admit,
That's a
they
neat
did
thing.
admit that they went about $8,000 over budget on the viewer.
On the viewer?
Yeah, so far I've only heard, I haven't heard any negative comments on the viewer.
But then to the comment Christine Brown made is that, you can take surveys, but how do you qualify them as valid or not?
Yeah.
How do you know you don't have 4 people with their individual axes to grind and they're the only ones that respond and,
Well, and actually
the silent majority stays silent.
The actual question is as important. I mean, I've done enough ballot initiatives that we could sway the vote just by the way we.
Yeah, yeah.
we like
Word the
to kill
question?
babies,
No.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
Yeah, that's true.
No,
Or timing.
or timing,
This-
yeah.
If this presentation was done 2 weeks after the
Sandy.
Sandy or 2021 or Ida or the other one, 2018 storm, where we had one meeting and there was like 8 people. And then it rained like crazy. And the next thing you know, 150 people showed up at the Board of Ed meeting on the Rooster River.
Yeah.
Keith knows about that one. And, so we, so timing, wording of the questions and whatever. And, knock on wood, we escaped a bullet yesterday. Rain, I don't think it was too bad. But you're one storm away from having a whole host of complaints come in.
Okay.
The only other thing, Dick, you had asked me about in terms of the budget or whatever, we're about at 67% of the expenditures, and the following things they still have to provide. As I said, they have to make the final direction or with the town on the priority sites for inland. And then the final review of the project experience page content and draft report, which obviously hasn't been done yet. Review of coastal sites, preliminary concepts. And then to have, they have here public meeting planning that says 2 meetings. And I think one of them would be public and one might be like at a Board of Selectmen or an RTM or something like that.
So they're 2/3 built.
Yep. And then draft report and.
Do they think in their heart of hearts that they're 2/3 done?
I think
Because I would question that. They still
they're somewhere
owe us a
between-
number, they still owe us a number of preliminary designs.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, I think they have a lot of that already, but they haven't presented it, because I think they want to, and the example I'll use is like with traffic calming or even with drainages, they have what you call a toolbox, or best management practices, if anyone knows those terms, where, okay, you could do a detention pond, you could do an infiltration basin, you could do a vegetated swale, you could do all these different things. So they already have those. And now, once we give them the priorities, then they'll slide in which ones are the best. So I think a lot of the footwork and research has been done, because the tasks, on, matter of fact, from an invoice I have here, tasks 1, 2 have been 100% completed. Task 4, which is a long-term vision, they say is 2/3 completed. Cost estimates, they only have 10% done, which is good because I'd be scared, like I said, if they already had that. And they're only 50% done with conceptual designs. So,
Is there a list of all the items that need to be conceptualized and then planned to be developed?
well, that was in their contract. As I said, they have all
That's
these
what those 8
tasks.
locations are.
This is just inland. What about coastal?
Yeah.
That's another deliverable.
Yeah, that's another
Whittle
deliverable.
down
There was a
the coastal sites.
I thought like we had done that, no?
Well, we kind of had. We had like 25.
Yeah.
And then I don't know who in the group or whether it was somebody from FERB or somebody where all of a sudden they added all the tie gates to it. And so.
No, that voluminous
Yeah,
list
right,
was
yeah.
put together by race,
Right.
as far as I'm
Yeah, but it was,
aware.
but I believe, I was told that they were directed to add the tie gate.
Bill, we don't get to direct any of this if you, unless you haven't been paying attention.
Yeah,
We don't,
yeah, again, that might have been before I took
we
over.
just sit in the corner, look pretty and keep our mouths
A
shut.
little bit more than that.
So just
A little bit more than that.
to keep grounded,
Don't
so
sell yourself
so
short.
we have eight items inland. The coastal needs to be prioritized.
Right.
Again, 8 to 10, and then we will see.
8 to 10 with potentially 1 or 2 variations or something
Fine.
like that. Yep.
So say 10 to 20 overall, 20 concepts approximately that we will see at some point.
Yes.
Yes.
Do we know when we'll see them?
Well, one of the next,
In the fall.
once we get the coastal,
Uh-huh.
then we'll have a better idea. 'Cause they'll say, well, we needed, we could have gone further with a step, but we were waiting for the town to prioritize the location, stuff like that, they'll say. But the same token, what Becky and I, now again, not necessarily representing the whole firm, but she and I think even the first select person agreed to, what we don't want is them to rush through and all of a sudden give us a finished product at the end of May.
Well, I was going to ask,
Right.
because if we're going to have some public meetings, we do
Yeah.
actually have to have
That's why I'm
some public
asking all these
input
things.
into it before,
need some time
we
to
can't
do-
just
Yes,
walk into
that's right.
and say, okay, here are the designs we've decided on. So
Right.
it would seem to me if this is the fall, they may have those designs sometime between now and the fall.
Right, I would think so. And if I recall, I think that's what they were aiming for. I would have thought, you always have to worry about
the next
summer
meeting
vacation.
in late May, early June?
That's what I was gonna, I have to just find out when
We haven't
that is
heard on
gonna
that.
be. It was either right before or right after, or when school opens up again.
Yeah, I think what we need to avoid is this meeting that happened last time, which only turned into a viewer meeting. I think if we can make it a better meeting for the public,
I think we
need to
I
plan
think we
for
all
that.
agree that
Right.
we didn't think that meeting should have gone ahead.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what I'm saying, that's why I'm asking all these
Saying that they
questions.
wanted to say that they got a meeting done so they could hit a milestone on their chart so they could release more funds. I don't believe that we should have held that meeting.
Yeah, I 100%.
But again, we had changed a little bit of direction where after discussions with various people, we really thought it was important to have people know how to use the viewer. That was important because, again, this has been the pride and joy. As I said, they're going to be bringing this viewer up to the American Association of Public Works. And to have it and then have everybody go, oh, it's too complicated, I don't even know what to do, then we really wasted our money.
Yeah, but we could have done that plus the
Well,
public
that would,
meeting.
yeah, well,
Right, that
again,
90
the way I
days.
looked at it is,
We were the
I thought Weston and Sampson were maybe about 10 minutes long on their presentation. This is just personal opinion. And maybe Race was 15 minutes long, and so that might have given us a little bit more time for the public. But
Can we take one message back to them that we really would like to see a project plan on when these things will be delivered, so we can plan the public
Right, the
meeting
schedule,
properly, so we
yep.
have enough time to look through these things. So it doesn't become a rush job.
Well, and I mean,
And I think we can get that, once I know the next step with the coastal, and then say, all right, here's the coastal, because then they have all the input that they need,
Yeah.
and we'll be able to do that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I don't think we need to do them all at once. We've given them the 8 to now almost 10 of the inland. I think that they can be working on the concepts and feeding them back to us in advance. We don't need all 10 inland and all 10 coastal to arrive at the same time for it to be effective. We can begin with.
It will be better if they come separate.
Yeah, so I feel like that, I think, and also what they need from us in terms of feedback on those 8 in order for them to hit the project plan that they're proposing. And that we're not going to support another meeting until we have some of that, right? Because I agree with you, Carolyn. I feel like we were, I'm glad the viewer was cool, and I love that Tom Stanky loved it. We just gave them a proof of concept to now go around Connecticut to talk about their viewer capability, and we paid for it. So my sense is that it's time for us to start to control a consultant versus the consultant controlling what's happening in the town.
Well, again, that what I was talking about before with the contract and whatever. Originally, FERB, all right, or members, now might be different people, where they actually wanted this thing done within 6 months. And as you can see, if we had done that in 6 months, it would have been total chaos. Some of it, the town, would have, 4 different people in charge for various reasons.
I think that's water
And-
over the
Right.
proverbial dam there, right?
Right.
I think now it's just a matter of, we know what we need. We're working very closely with you.
But yes, that would, as I said,
We understand we're 67% through the budget.
Yep. And I read off the next steps.
40% through the work. And we got a public meeting in, and it was good, and I'm glad we had it, but I didn't see anything tangible come out of it other than the fact that people know how to use the viewer. And that's good. That's a step, but that could have been a Zoom, That could have been we could have done 90 days later, and we could have done it Memorial Day weekend or after or before that, and combined it with at least the first round of feedback or conceptual designs on the inland stuff. And then, because what's going to happen is, you know what's going to happen? If we only have 2 meetings left, right, in our contract, that means that we're now going to have to compromise on that, or we're going to have to pay them for an extra meeting or 2 in order to do this.
There's a possibility. There is one other option that we have, and that would be to host a public meeting ourselves and maybe just have one person rather than the whole team. We don't need 4 of them to come.
Yeah, if we understand as we go along where they are, what they're thinking, what they're going to put together, what the deliverables might maybe look like, and we were to get something tangible that they're developing, we could certainly hold the meeting ourselves because we would be knowledgeable enough to field many of the questions that would come up, and for the ones that we didn't know, we could honestly say, that's a good question.
We defer to the consultant. Right, exactly.
Versus the consultancy.
This is good info. This is good progress. We're getting our arms around it, right? I feel like you feel like you're getting your arms around it, so I feel better about it. But there's more.
And to Bill's point, we kind of screwed up for 4 or 5, 6, 8 months with different people.
Ring around the rosy.
In charge or not in charge, and the circular firing squad and all of that.
The good thing is, though, we're gaining a fluency here in this board, right? And we now have an 8, maybe to 10 on the inland, and we know who we got to work with, and then we're going to whittle down those coastal ones, and we're going to put you in a position to be able to effectively manage them, right? I think that's the most important thing here. If it's done in the fall, it's done in the fall. We need it done right.
Yeah.
Right? This has been advertised through the election cycle. This has been advertised through the budget cycle. This is super important to us and our constituents, right? It is what it is. I hear you're right. We dodged a bullet, but I don't love dodging bullets.
No,
You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
We let's hope there's no hurricane in the fall, as
Yeah,
we are in fact developing and putting this out.
What's funny
to
is
those who are
right. It was 2 years ago. That's what Becky used to kind of, strong arm Bill Gerber was. We were out walking around in the sand, right? That day because we thought, okay, hurricane. Remember, we were out looking around.
The one you don't
know.
Be a bad nor'easter which wiped out.
Mr. Bradley, Dr. Bradley.
So the only thing we've gotten, in my opinion, the only thing we've gotten so far from what we've got at the public meeting was that there's a really bad problem coming, and we have to really be on top of this bad problem. But we've been studying that since 1965, and we know that. We have to start seeing some solutions coming forward. What are the proposed solutions?
Right.
And if that's not, if 60% of the budget has been spent and all we've got out of it is there's bad times coming, then
Yeah. I think you're right. You're right. I think we've got more than that. I think we saw some very good modeling at the coastal side. We saw some of the impact about where it was going to come over the dunes. You remember, we saw the peninsula was going to be kind of wiped out there. We saw all sorts of stuff,
I
right?
also want to highlight, though, because
I hear you.
These are going to be strategies and concepts. These are not going to be plans by any stretch.
No, they're not going to be.
So
blueprints and
I
like
just
that,
want to make sure that that there's.
But that was the RFP. Hey, help us figure out what are the most current technologically adept options for us to deploy, knowing this is coming. So to Key's point, we know it's coming.
Yep.
Right? We're overdue. We're overdue for certain things. But on the flip side, we got to be thinking about, the river and the coast. We're going to think about both, and we need solutions for both. Proposed solutions, like you said, not fleshed out plans, so we can then prioritize them as a
Strategy, and that's a perfect descriptor, strategies and concepts.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm good with that. And I think that we worked through the summer on that, and we're in a position then, as we head into the budget
Good
cycle.
idea. Let's develop the inland in the meantime while we figure out the coastal priorities.
And I like Bill's idea. Let's not burn a meeting if
with them,
Not with them.
Yeah, exactly.
We can do this. Right? And this is so okay. All right. We've killed that horse. Anything else on the resiliency plan? But really good discussion.
I have one parting question of Mr. Hurley. Do you hear any rumblings around town hall about the NOV and our friends at the Army Corps?
It was number four.
Does
number
anybody,
four.
is anybody interested in resolving that?
I went to a lovely affair in
Did
Penfield.
someone say, hey, Phil Pierce, could you write a letter to the Army Corps?
All I can honestly say is I did bring it up to somebody who's involved with that and just said as a reminder, and like they're still waiting for an official response or something like that. So that's all I can say on that.
I mean, Greg,
I'm not,
Greg,
thankfully, I'm not involved in that.
Greg offered, hey, Army Corps, I'm a licensed surveyor. I'll go take the things and swear on the Bibles that this is the as-built elevations here. Oh, no, we have to do that ourselves. Okay.
But
Well, we don't have money for travel. Okay, we'll send an Uber. I'll drive up there and pick up the guys and bring them down
And the
and
way
bring
he
them
drives,
back.
he'll be there in 25 minutes.
Yeah, so
It's a town liability issue.
Yeah, no, I wish I had an answer.
talking about milestones to put behind us, is that not a milestone for the town to finally achieve? After
Who
what,
has point on it?
12 years? How long have we been dealing with
I
it?
believe it's out of the town's hands and it's in review. And you got to remember, unfortunately, well, this is FEMA, but one of the other federal agencies, it was 3.5 years to get a permit. So,
No, I understand that. and-
I can't say that, but I'm sure if there's any information, they'll be putting it in
Because
the
when-
newsletter and whatever.
When I was putting out the agenda, our temporary chairperson for tonight said, why are we carrying these things month after month after month? I'm tired of seeing no progress. I said, well, because if we take them off our list, they'll be gone forever.
Well, yeah, it wasn't just that. It was just like listen. I run projects for a living, right? This is what I do, and I've done it for 20 years. So I like a full set, a bowler chart of all the projects and the impact on, and I can make it right. I can make a chart where it's going to show all the different projects, different types. I don't care if it's fluvial and pluvial or whatever you want to call it, but and the impact on our stormwater management, right? But there's all these projects, and we had this Excel sheet. And when I first came on board, I was like, oh my God, like I would listen. So I go home and I'd be reading these things, trying to figure out which projects were which. And I don't want to keep asking about them every meeting if we don't have updates on them. So generally, when we have a meeting like this, I want to make the best use of Bill's time because I know he's the last guy out of this building and the first guy in this building every day. And I want to make the best use to talk about stuff that we have updates on. That was my only.
No,
I don't think we should ever take NOV off because
It just keeps it in there and it just opens up the discussion. But the last I heard is, again, the town still is, making a priority. They want to get rid of this. Believe me, they want to get rid of this because from there, then, some other ideas may be able to pop up. But until they get rid of that, we're kind of stuck. So I know the town
Or when
wants.
the NOV goes away, someone might be able to stand up and say, hey, you think it's time to put some landscaping there? And because we won't have to pull it up when the Army Corps says, oh, no, you got to go down 18 inches deeper with your sand or something.
All right.
all right.
Yep, all right.
Good point. All right, Bill. Wait, one last thing.
One thing for you. So on this do nothing committee, I think it's turning into do nothing group of people.
Just aptly named.
We really need your help here. Like we needed that GIS data to be sent to Mark Hoover.
I have, now the
Can you send
GIS,
it to me, otherwise I'll send it to Mark.
I have to find now, the GIS, is that from Mark Hoover or are you talking about?
No, this is from
the-
Western
Western
Census.
Census?
Yeah.
I have to find out what's involved with that, because if that is a big cell or something like that, then they're gonna charge us for it, because that was not in the scope. So I have to
So we
find out.
don't want that data?
I have to review the contract on that, to be honest with you.
Let me know, because I think we're kind of
To
stuck.
be honest with you, Dick and I've asked 2 or 3 times, and I'll ask again the next time for sure, just to get a copy of the slide deck of the meeting.
I want to get the slide deck from that public meeting and put it on our website. So we can say,
11th?
Yeah.
So we can say to the folks, hey, go look at the slide deck. There's
All I
good
know,
information.
all I know is that Bill's going to get a GIS analyst based on what I saw on the Board of Select persons. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Confident? You're not confident?
The tough.
I love the argument.
I also want another position too.
Yeah.
For our traffic. As I said, the 2 hottest issues in town, drainage and traffic.
So
I thought you were saying.
It seems to me, when I think about traffic lights and stuff, I have this vision of a cop truck going out with a little lift and servicing traffic lights. Do we have a traffic group within the police department?
No,
No, we do not.
we have a small.
So it's up to
DPW that
engineering to
can replace
monitor.
bulbs and stuff like that.
So it's up to engineering to monitor all of these traffic signals in the code. Don't you have a computer thing that you?
Well, we're
look at
working
traffic
on that.
signals?
Yeah, we just had a meeting last week.
Why is that not under traffic cops keep traffic going and stuff like that? Don't get it.
It's what I could tell you on that is for when we had we had a training on it. We did have two officers, or a lieutenant and a sergeant in the training, and they seem to love it, and they're going to embrace certain things about that.
The
So
whole thing.
you know, well, again, it's so complicated with the electrical, and we still need help of a consultant on some of these, and then we also need to hire an on-call contractor. We have two right now, but it's due for a new proposal.
Just to maintain traffic signal.
Oh yeah.
I'm just
On state law.
I'm just sitting here thinking that belongs within the police department. Not.
Listen, Dick, thanks again. We
Right,
appreciate it.
thanks.
All right, we'll see
Thank
you.
you, Bill.
All right, so we're gonna move on to item number 6 here.
All the other roads is.
I mean, if you think about the number of lights, they gotta be mostly on state roads, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
All the post
What are you talking
road
about?
is all
Oh.
state, right?
Benson, Post Road, Black Rock, all
Right.
state roads, right? So what are we
Right.
talking about, Fairfield Ave? I mean, where else, you know?
Because mostly it's
No,
four-way
maybe there's a
stops.
stop signs.
Stop signs.
Stop signs gotta pay,
It
you know.
just seemed to me. It just seems like.
Yeah, but the point is, how many are there really in town that we have to maintain?
Yeah,
If
which
they're on
would be
state
a-
roads, do we have to maintain
On
them?
state roads, I
I
don't know.
believe the state maintained, Department of Transportation.
The
State-
signals or just the road? I wonder if it,
I thought it was a signal.
you would think it would be both.
I'm pretty sure
The
it's.
safe, the safe operation of them, you would think would be
Keith,
both.
over at Fairfield Woods Library, the light was flashing like for an entire week, and I think that must be a state road, that we couldn't just go stop that light.
Fairfield Woods State Road?
Right near, no, right by the library.
I don't
That doesn't, no, I don't think
That
so.
might be one of the bigger roads that have
Maybe
lights
it
on.
is.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, so
Anyway.
let's move on to number 6, but good discussion. Are there any other new business
Yes.
which we'd like to
Oh, wait,
properly
before
come
we do
before
that, I
the
just want to
board?
ask, on the do nothing value, is James working on that? Is that,
No, so Becky and I, so just to give you a quick idea, like
Yeah.
what, so Becky and I met Mark Hoover from MetroCog, and he basically said that if you give me the GIS data, I can map the properties that will get flooded.
okay,
And then I think what we needed from Emmeline was to see if we have data on which properties have been elevated since Sandy. If we could get those few pieces together, then we know which properties will get
planning and zoning
impacted.
must have that because they had to permit it.
So I don't have answers to any of these
Okay, sorry.
questions, and I've been chasing Bill for a few months now, and I've been sending him emails, but he just
Not
was
that,
like,
okay.
"What's the best way to? Should I just pick up the phone next time and reach out for him? Is that
Bill
okay?
Hurley?
Is that okay to do?
Knocks on the door.
I can't knock on the door. I have to go to New York.
Go to New York every day.
But like, I just need that data. So because Mark Hoover was willing to do this thing for free, or he just said I can do all these
And
things.
Mark is whom?
MetroCog.
Oh,
But your
MetroCog.
point is well taken that it may be a big file, that's a technical hurdle, but it's our data.
It should be our data. That's
The
what
contract
surprised me
must.
when he said
The
that.
contract, yeah.
And if nothing else, my view is that even if these guys have to do an extra meeting, if we promoted their viewer that it's becoming a state recognized tool, don't we get some benefit from
Problem
these
is,
guys?
it is Weston Sampson's viewer, you're right, yeah.
It's their
It wasn't
viewer.
race, yeah. But the data you want is that race's data, different firm.
No, not raised.
Weston Sampson's data.
The
That's the one
GIS
that, they're the
is
ones who
Weston
put,
Sampson?
so they're the ones who put together the blue spots and all the flooding data. That's
Okay,
what we
yeah,
need.
yeah, okay, all right. All right, good point.
Okay, sorry. I knew
no,
James
this-
was doing some piece, but.
You know, I think
okay.
one question I have though for people here, like I think you guys might know, I think Army Corp did a study where they estimated $643 million loss to the town because of this issue. Does anybody have that study anywhere?
Army
study?
Corps did a study
It's in
that said it would
2019
I
apparently.
thought that study, I thought was, that number sounds like the number that Becky said the Army Corps said we would need to spend if we wanted to wall off the whole beach. It was like, it was 500 million or something like this.
Oh, that
It wasn't a law study.
It
I
wasn't
don't
the law
think. I
study.
think it was.
Well, but that study did have a calculation of
Okay.
loss avoid. If you spend this $500 million, you will avoid a loss of $320 million.
Was it that? Something like
I'm
that.
making up
Do you
numbers.
think
I have-
Becky
Is it a
has a
study?
study?
Becky, I'm betting
I would first go and look on the flood and erosion web page
And see if
in
it's there.
files and documents and just see what's there.
He
And
says
if
with
not,
his tongue in cheek,
and
okay.
if not, you can call me and I might be able to come up with something
I gave you- I gave
that
you-
was
I gave
on,
you
that was on the little hard drive or the little
I
drive
have
that
the
I tried to
phone.
give you guys when you joined the board, but nobody wanted
because
to.
Karen and I was thinking, let's at least understand how they estimated the number.
Right, no, exactly,
And maybe we
exactly.
can just
What
approximate
parameters they
ourselves.
used.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, okay.
That's a whole, what's the word I want? Not Pandora's box, but that's a whole magical sphere to figure out losses.
Yeah.
It's got, they have
Okay.
lots of formulas. I don't get it because there's lots of formulas and no graphs. If there's no
I
graphs, I don't
interrupted you,
get it.
Dick, I know you had something you were gonna add.
Yeah.
Well, no, and it's too bad James is not here tonight because one thing Becky wanted to not lose sight of is this idea of First Street Insurance Companies where they have this
Oh, yeah.
tool that shows risk of flooding, risk of heat, risk of rain, and Jim was going to look into that.
Yeah,
I went to First Street and said, gee, I wonder what this is all about. And you cannot get past their paywall. So they say, oh, you can have 7 days free, but then it's $40 a month to use this. And from what I saw, it's like you put in a particular street address. And it gives you this little matrix of this is your heat rating, this is your flood rating, this is your rain rating, whatever. And I don't know that they do something for a whole town as opposed to this model of just,
Well, they must have done it for the whole town because it's on
I
Zillow.
mean, you could,
At the bottom of your Zillow profile now, I think it can
but
tell.
that's for a particular property.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
Okay,
but
okay.
they must have done
But
it.
they must have it up for
And
everything.
yeah, and I guess if you pay $40 a month, you can put in individually every property in town and get those ratings and put
well,
them
they
in a
have a nice
spreadsheet or
flood,
something.
their webpage has a nice
Yeah.
big flood,
Yeah, very nice.
very much like.
So, but the whole point is that Jim being in the industry
Right.
should be able to have more immediate understanding and some insight into what this really could do for us.
Maybe he has an account.
I don't know, but
Okay.
there we go.
All right.
The other thing is I sent around a draft letter to Tim Bishop regarding the McLeavy Tide Gate.
Yeah, I saw that.
And just similar to what I did with Riverside Drive. We need to get something for flood control out of these projects. We can't just have a SRT that makes marsh nice. We need to do a flood control factor. And McLeavy is on the Pine Creek Dike run. So at a minimum, we need to make the McLeavy project itself up to 12 feet, because we've adopted this 12-foot protection
Right,
level
right,
for
right,
town.
right.
So
So-
anything we touch needs to get to that 12 feet, in my opinion. And the other thing that I think we should spend some effort on is getting with Deep and saying, hey, we know that you have a 3-to-1. If we do a project and destroy 300 square feet of marshland, we owe 900 equivalent square feet that we restore to make up on a 3X for that marshland we took. And if we do McCleavey and we do it right, and we restore 5 acres of marsh to nice saltwater marsh, they should let us put that in a bank somewhere, because that's good for the whole Connecticut coast to support Long Island Sound health. So I don't know where that stands.
So this is the draft to Bishop.
McCleavey
That's a
tied
good
in.
idea.
Yeah.
I think it's an excellent idea.
So, and I didn't want to put that to a vote tonight, because I want to make sure Becky is here to chime in on that.
Right,
That's-
since she signs it especially.
All right, that's good. And they may allow that kind
So
of.
if you have other comments about that, let me know. I'll put them in the letter. But we need to have the top of that berm over the culvert. We need to have the top of that more than 4 feet wide, because we got to get the trucks there to pull the tide gates or whatever, service them. And the whole thing Bill brought up about easements, that's another thing on there. And that kind of dovetails in with,
So why would we need the easement? That's not like down property where,
no, the location is on a property line between 2 private properties. So you need the easement to get there and service it afterwards. You need the construction easement so you can go there and dig up all the dirt and repair it back to what it was. And then you need the permanent access to get there with your pickup truck with the little winch on the back, or with your backhoe to dig something out or whatever. So, yeah, that could be a big project.
So what's the next step on the letter? You're going to talk to Becky? I mean, we seem to be in agreement it should go. I don't have any language to add to it, but.
I read it.
Let Becky get back from vacation. I'll talk to her, because that's something we might just do a email vote. I think can we do that? Can we
Just do a
do an
vote,
email
just do a
vote?
vote right now and make it subject to any final comments Becky has.
So moved.
Okay, good.
That way it'll-
I'll buy that. So the motion is to send the letter as drafted to Tim Bishop regarding the McCleavey tide gate.
Pending any final comments.
And
By Becky, exactly.
So we have a first, your second on it.
sure.
Very good.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Great.
Thank you, Keith.
All right.
Okay, so that's new business. I think that's a good, and I gotta say, your comment there, it's not lost on me. Have input on any project that can impact flood. If you look at and we didn't talk about this with this group, but in terms of new business, I saw the form for Westport for anything that touches kind of a flood impact. The FERB in Westport has to sign off on it. Any project where they're
They
doing
don't
construction.
do coastal. Did you notice that?
You did say that.
They
yeah.
don't
I
do
know, but
coastal.
still,
They just do inland.
I know it's crazy, but still, the process requires the flood erosion board to sign off on the document before the pit permit can be issued. Like, I don't know that we're looking to be that far in bed, but it leads us to the conversation that we had with the first select person's office a week or two
Well,
weeks ago.
we had in this group, we had talked about that years ago. And one of the things was, we meet once a month. You're going to add yet another step to people trying to get a permit to do something.
Yeah.
And if we have appropriate language in the POCD, and we have some documents that are accepted as town documents, then building department or planning and zoning can
Act on our behalf.
police that with the
But
application.
like, I think if things are planned properly, I don't think they need to wait for us to
Right.
have the meeting
Yeah,
for a month.
yeah.
If we knew things were happening, we could discuss them in the meeting and we can agree, we can get the vote, we can be done. So I don't know, I just feel like, I think, I'm very new to this thing, but after a few months of seeing this, it doesn't seem like that we have much of a say in anything here.
Well, that was what I was leading into, is that we met with the first select person's office about 3 weeks ago, and we're going back next Friday And we aired our thoughts and our concerns and what the state statute provides for and the diverse set of backgrounds that this board brings in terms of so many different things. And they absolutely agreed and understood. And there were moments where they were a bit surprised where we're not involved things, and there were moments where they were a little disappointed, I believe. And they agreed to take it away and give us and ask for a couple weeks to kind of go through it themselves, knowing that they're going through basically every other day 6 hours of budget cycles to get back. So they reached out to us this last week, and they put a date back on for the 27th, I think it is, next Friday in the afternoon. We'll be back here at Town Hall in the first select person's office with DPW director and others to just contemplate that and hear what their thoughts are about what is the right balance of our involvement, what is the right balance of our, our ability to shape a project like the master plan and things like that. So I feel like we were heard. And in informal conversations, I'm getting the same feedback.
That's fantastic.
So I think that it was well received. It was appreciated by the way that it was put forth. It was appreciated, the package that Becky, I think she forwarded to everybody, the package she put together post-meeting indicated, this is what other towns, Branford and Westport and other towns are doing. So I just think that right now they are just neck deep in budget. But there was absolute understanding of, the importance of what we can bring to the table. That was the feedback I got.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So if there's no other new business, we can, if someone wants to move to adjourn the meeting, we can, but I don't have anything else. No? We have a motion to
I'll make a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Chuck. Second,
I'll second.
thank you. Any discussion? Okay, well then I will consider us
We are adjourned.
adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Prue, come shut off the computer.
Get over.
Hi, Keith.
And
Thank
Keith-
you.
Hi, Keith.
All I saw you was up on the stage.